This episode is inspired by anime filler arcs. It is inspired by the first season of that Netflix show that you love that was unfortunately turned into a 5-season show, seasons 2 through 5 of which you had zero interest in. It is inspired by that moment when you get home from school as a kid and your parents go, "What did you learn at school today?" And you go, "I don't know. I have no idea." And they go, "Give me one thing." And you go, "I can't. I don't know." Because you've just had so much information thrown at you, or because you are a rebellious teen and do not want to talk to your parents about school. Either way, the inspiration for this episode is information overload and the joy of just a little bit of nice, clear, concise information, clear, concise game design, tight, enjoyable game experiences, brevity, the beauty of a small experience that you really get a lot out of, the beauty of learning something in bite-sized, easy-to-digest chunks. That is what I'm inspired by today, and that is what we will be talking about. And in the spirit of that, this episode will be briefer, tighter, clearer, and overall, hopefully, less rambling. This is Game, Develop, Repeat. I'm your host, Chris. Thank you for joining me. Let's talk very briefly about what I'm playing right now. I played Slay the Princess, which was very cool. I expected a different experience than I got, for sure. I was expecting something a little bit more linear, a little bit more impactful from the first step. There were moments in the game where I felt like there was just enough of a comedy spin on it that it wasn't able to have the emotional impact that I was expecting from it. However, it is a good game that I was playing at the wrong time. You know what I mean? You ever have that happen to you where you play a game and you go, "This just is not landing for me." And I can tell that it's just well crafted and phenomenal and well written and all of this good stuff, and it's just not even that it's not for me. It's just not the right time for me. I opened it up on the wrong day. I dove in and I went, whoops. Should have saved this one, but I never would have known because I thought it was going to be one thing. It was something a little different. The expectations didn't fully line up. It was a bit more philosophical. It was a bit more verbose than I expected. I mean, it's a visual novel with branching paths, I think. So I should have known that it was going to be kind of verbose, but I did finish it. I did not do any kind of 100% completion thing. I did find it to be a cool experience. The artwork was very inspiring to me. I thought the artwork was interesting and gross sometimes and like kind of intimidating and morbid and in the kind of pencil drawn style of it. It's beautiful. It's a very beautiful game and it's executed in a very unique way. I appreciate that. But right now, I'm in a window kill mood. I played a little bit of window kill and I went, "Oh my God, this is the perfect game for me right now." And then I went to Slay the Princess and it just isn't the right game for me at this moment, which sucks because it's a really, really good game. And maybe it's the right game for you right now. This is going back maybe a month, but I played a little bit of Guild Wars 2 just for the fishing. I didn't talk about it because I always talk about fishing minigames on here. That's almost the only way I can engage with an MMO is for the fishing minigame. And that was nice. I wish there were an MMO that I could get into and really enjoy, but at this point in my life, MMOs are essentially just off the table. maybe one day there will be one that respects my time to a degree that I can actually invest in it. I think Guild Wars 2 is about as close as we get, and even that is not close enough. Expedition 33, I have still not finished. I want to come back into it. I have not had good time slots for it, but I will beat that game probably before the end of the year, maybe over Thanksgiving or Christmas when I have some time off. If I have time off over Christmas. We'll see how much time off I have around Christmas. Maybe then I'll finish Expedition 33, or maybe I'll squeeze it in to a weekend. I've been getting out and about on the weekends lately and, being social and all that stuff that you're supposed to do, which has been nice. But I've gotten off topic. Let's move on and talk about game development. Have you seen the joy in somebody's eyes when they play with a new tool? When they find out about little features on a tool and they go, oh my God, this helps me so much. Oh, I didn't know that this tool existed and it solves this problem that I had. Or, oh, the possibilities are endless. A child who gets a set of small buckets in a sandbox for the first time and you go, by the way, you might be able to build a castle with those. And then suddenly this kid is just having the time of their life. That's kind of what happened to me today. Not the sand bucket. I wasn't in a sandbox in my backyard. I wish that might be a fun time. No, I was playing around in a different sandbox, which was Godot. I have been trying to come up with a project that inspires me to do whatever, right? I've been going through this thing of like, is this a small enough project that's still exciting? Is this a small enough thing that's still exciting? What can I do with my time that I can get in and be excited about and blah, 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 right? I'm like trying to manufacture excitement very carefully and so on and so on. Well, the idea for this episode of Brevity inspired me to just go, you know what? Let's just find this small little thing to explore in Godot. So I pull up Godot's website. First off, real quick, there is a 4.5 release. That was exciting. That kind of got me rolling. They communicated that very clearly on the site. They were like, oh, here's what has changed. Here's what has been updated. Here's the things you can get hyped about. And I was like, you know what? You did get me hyped about it. So anyway, I download 4.5. And then I go into the documentation and I glance around a little bit, trying to find just something to experiment with. I look through the getting started and so on, but I've already done that before. And it's not really the thing I'm looking for. I'm looking for just something I can play with. So then I go to the node list. They go, what's something I can just learn about and just get the juices flowing, make a little progress, feel a little less lost when I open up Godot, feel like I have options and tools to play with. So I open it up, and top thing on the node list, basically, right after node, is accept dialog. And I look at that and I go, accept dialog. That sounds like it's a window. And I was curious and excited about Windows just the other day. In fact, I played around with Windows a little bit, because I had played Window Kill, and I was like, how did they do this? And then I went, okay, let me just look into that a little bit. I didn't get that deep looking into it, but I was like, oh, okay, there's a window node. Okay, maybe I'll look into this later. Well, in my exploration, I saw accept dialog, and I went, okay, let's play with that. Let's open this up in Godot, because it had some things that interested me. There's an add button method. There's something about adding custom buttons and actions. And I went, how does that work? How do I actually add custom buttons? I found little questions that I had about it. And I went, maybe there's something interesting here. Let's take a look. And so I did. I made a script on the accept dialog. I started playing around with creating custom buttons, adding a cancel button, and nice. So just to explain very quickly, accept dialog just has an accept button and the usual X in the top right corner where you can exit out. It's just a window that pops up. It's got accept. It's got a little X. And I was like, I want a cancel button too. And this says something about being able to add a cancel button. Okay, let's do that. And I add a cancel button, and it talks about custom buttons, and I add a custom button. Okay, great, fun. Then I'm playing around with that. And at some point, I run into the fact that there's also something called confirmation dialog. And I go, confirmation dialog? What's that? I look into that. Oh, it inherits from accept dialog, and it has the things that I just added. It has the cancel button there. So I can have a yes, I can have a no. I don't have to create a custom button. I don't have to add the cancel button through script. I can just have it to begin with. Whoops. There we go. Now I know that. And then I'm playing with these. And honestly, one of them is easier to use than I thought it would be, just looking through the documentation. And this is kind of what I want to talk about, really. Reading the documentation is one thing, experimenting with the things in the documentation is another thing. And I firmly believe that by experimenting with these tools, you not only learn more about them, you have more fun, right? You have a better time. Because I'm out here playing with 2 nodes. I could have just started reading through the node list and going, oh, taking notes. This is used for this. This is used for this. Okay, good to know. How do I play with this one? How do I connect these? And instead, I'm sitting here playing with buttons, adding buttons, connecting things, plus playing with not the node system. What is the word that I'm looking for? Excuse me. Hold on. Wait. Go with me on this. Stick with me. Signals. Playing with the signals. Figuring out how to create custom actions for the signals for a window that I have a whole bunch of buttons on. And then I go, oh, wait, I can just create these callable actions and make a very kind of smooth, simple signal flow, at least to me. So I play with all that. That's nice. And then I have more questions. I go, what about just the window node? Can that have all these custom buttons? Can I use the add button function on the window node? Oh, not really. Not really. Okay, fine. And then I'm thinking about it. I'm going, what if I want to make a window that has little controls on it, an up, a down, a left, a right? What if I want a window that moves a character around, and I want it to be a window rather than part of the bigger UI, rather than be like a locked-in UI element? I want it to be a free-floating window that you can mess with. What if I want to do that? And I go, well, I don't want to use accept dialog, and I don't want to use confirmation dialog, so I do want to use window, but I can't use add button in the script because that is from accept dialog, and it's, it's not part of the window node. And I don't want to, I was like, oh, maybe I can hide the buttons that are already on that. I'm like, that's hacky. That can't be the right solution. So I start messing with this in my head a little bit. And I go, oh, wait. I can just freaking make a window with buttons on it. What am I doing? So now I'm playing with that. And I'm discovering that I can add buttons onto a window. And I can still move the window around and the buttons stay on the window, right? Without me having to add. Wait, did I add a control layer or not? So I did add a control layer on the window for some UI positioning issues, right? To make sure that it fills out the window properly, so on and so on. But then I'm going, oh wait, I've only been doing this through script. I can just add these buttons to begin with. I can add other weird extra buttons on these windows. I can do all these cool little weird things, and it's exciting just to have these tools. And that is my good news. That is my exciting development thing today. And my plan, loosely, but it's a pretty good plan. My plan is to keep doing little explorations like this, right? And maybe I explore the window thing a little bit more. Maybe I explore another node. I'm kind of excited to keep exploring the window thing and see if I can make like a movement system using just a little window, right? Just like have a little tile map based movement thing connected to a window. I don't know. There's fun ideas there, right? Or maybe I just have like a little, I could have separate windows. One is just like a bunch of text, and then I hit one window and it spawns text in this window full of text based on whatever button I clicked in a separate window. I know that doesn't sound that exciting, but I want to play with these tools. And that's cool to me. And that's it. that's my development update, really. I'm excited about this tool. And all I really looked into was accept dialog, confirmation dialog, window, and a little bit of stuff about callables. Now, depending on where you're at, this may or may not be the most exciting angle for you. Maybe you need to start with a particularly, simple node or something that appeals to you. Maybe you just want to start by putting sprites down and playing with sprites and doing whatever you can with sprites. Maybe you're far enough along that you want to play with something a little bit weirder. Maybe there's just some node that you haven't messed with at all, right? Like, what in the world is it? Hold on. What is a spin box? Does anybody know what a spin box is? Okay, so it's a canvas item, control range. It's an input field for numbers. Numerical input. You see what I mean? I'm immediately like, what? What does this do? So there's an idea for you. It's kind of a fun way to explore. Mostly I wanted to convey to you how excited I was to just explore some basic features and how that inspired me more than sitting around and doing game design. And I think a core part of that is that it's easy to get overwhelmed by the sheer number of methods, and learning or sheer number of nodes even. Learning a little bit more about that, getting the lay of the land is exciting and inspiring. And that's that. I know that this episode's theme is brevity, but that was the part of the episode that I wanted to go on and on about. I think that exciting development in my development is worth talking longer about. And I think that it is the appropriate length for the level of impact that it has had on me. I may try a couple episodes that are shorter so that it's just a little bit of game talk, a little bit of whatever else, and then a big ol', or maybe a small little, here's what I've been studying, here's what I've been looking into with development, here are some interesting little things that I ran into, tell me more if you know more, kind of thing, right? Jump in, talk about accept dialogue, talk about these little tools, and challenge each other to play with them. Speaking of challenging each other, let's wrap this thing up with a little something to get you inspired for the week. Here's a challenge for you this week. Pick a node and play with it. See if it inspires you. I say go with accept dialogue because that's the one I'm excited about. And then you can pop in and start chatting about whatever you've been doing with it. Play with a window. Play with an accept dialogue. Play with a confirmation dialogue. Maybe just make something that has a list of insults that the computer says back to you. Maybe it's got a text-to-speech thing involved. I have no idea. Find a little tool in Godot or in your engine that excites you, and then play with it. That's my challenge for you this week. And for me, same deal. I'm probably going to keep playing with these little dialogue windows, or just windows in general, and see if I can make a little, I would love to make a little movement thing. And then this is what's really exciting to me. I want to run this. I've only run it in the editor so far. I need to run it outside of the editor and see how it functions within my operating system. Can I take those windows outside of the game window? Probably not, but is there a way that I can make that happen? Is there a way that I can make it look that way? Because that would be kind of cool. That is everything that I have for you today, though. Feel free to jump into the Discord and talk about what you're experimenting with. I like this angle. I think I'm going to play with this a little bit more in terms of the podcast episodes. I've been feeling like I need to mix it up a little bit, and focusing on exploration and then sharing that exploration with you seems like a really good way to do that. So, and it fits better within my schedule too, to be honest. So that is everything that I have for you this week. Thank you, as always, for joining me. Until next week, get out there, make some stuff, and have fun with it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.